some interactive session. Yeah. Research outcomes. How do we commercialize research outcomes? The first question I'll throw to us is, how do we see research outcomes? Do we see it as something abstract or a product? Hello? Yes. Before I delve into my outline, I just wanted to just tease our mind, just stimulate our mind a bit. If you look at the place of work and the dynamics and the way things are changing, there's a need that from the national level to the institutional level to corporate level, things change. And if the things have to change, it has to change from the mindset level before we translate it onto our normal day-to-day spheres. Ghana as a country, you may ask, how much money do we devote for research as a country? Yes. I was just glancing through the budget. The budget was read last week, and I know the budget allocation for education in all was 33 billion. So I asked myself, of this budget allocation, how much was allocated to research? I know, yes, universities are giving research allowances, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, as a country, how do we see research and what role does research play for us? Now let's get home. The two countries that invest a lot in research, United States and China. Currently, Amazon, Google, they invest so much into research. And for which I know some of us are aware of that. Somebody was employed, his pay package was 250 million. Hello? Hi. How many of us earn that now? I don't earn that. I don't think there's anybody here who earns that either. So we need to change our mindset. And it starts with changing even the curriculum. Yes. I know this faculty is faculty of built and natural resources. Environment. Good. We are at a moment where there's so much change on the climate, so much talk on sustainability. These are topical issues. So much talk on AI. So I ask myself, of all the things we do in our faculty, we do something entrepreneurship. Hello? It's entrepreneurship part of the programs. Beautiful. Do we do anything business development? Yes. I'm setting all these things so that we wouldn't come out with our products, that is our research outcomes, and somebody will come and snatch it from us. Hello? Yes, because I know it takes a lot of resources, a lot of effort to come up with research outcomes. Right. Once you come out with it, there are things that you can do that your research findings will not just lie down and gather dust. Even if it's in the elementary stage, perhaps you are working to find somebody who will sponsor the research, it should be patented. That is where IP, intellectual property protection comes in. Are we fine? Yes. These are things that some of us we don't take it critically. But if you go to the West, it's something that, some of these things are there for generations unborn, right? For those of us who believe in the Bible says a good man is someone who leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So it means that whatever come out with, it should be generational. And if it's generational, it means your intellect, your brain, which is something from God, you should protect it, right? It should be patent, it should be copyright. This is a built environment. The things you do, it wouldn't be like a normal research scientist. It's just a paper abstract. You go to the lab and you come out with some chemical, etc. But things that you do, most of them are visible, right? They are things that solve day to day, right? So these are things that once you come out with it, you should be able to patent it. As Prof said, COVID time, right? I mean, sanitizer was a hot thing, right? So can you imagine the benefit that would have endured to this faculty if that product was patented, right? He wouldn't have taken it just like that. He would have entered into a contract, and portion will come to whoever developed that faculty. Because every day, institutions need money, isn't it? Yes. And you can imagine, all of us. Right? So, going forward, I think these are things that we need to do and we need to do it well. Again, in Africa, right? Ghana, we know, is the second leading producer of cocoa, right? And the question is, are we maximizing cocoa, right? Somebody, there's been a lot of research around cocoa, come out with hybrids, right? Ghana's cocoa is premium, but when we produce it, sell it raw. When we come up with our research outcomes, we use our research outcomes to get our grade. We want the paper, but we don't want the paper money. Hello. We as bankers, everything has to translate into your pocket. And I believe same applies to you. Yes. You ask how many of us have partnered with contractors, not contractors as a company, right? But I mean the contractors in Ghana. They don't have something to do with the foundation. The things we come out with, we give them to them for free. Right? Some of us, how many of us have done what you call it? With some of these construction companies. I see my very good. Yes, so we go to give them knowledge. We put their work. It is intellectual property. Can we maximize it? So, in order to structure our sum up our story, then I'll delve into the things we need to do. I mean, I'll use what Rudyard Kipling called the 6 honest men. How do you commercialize? Why do you commercialize? Who commercializes? When do you commercialize? These are critical things that if we go through them, I believe by the time we are done with it, we'll all be in the right frame of mind. But going forward, we don't do things and give it free. Because if you go to the Bible, there's something we call the parable of the sower. Yes, God has given the talent we have to burn the midnight oil, to come out with a project. You research, you come out with findings, you make recommendations, and somebody will just tell you, it's an understanding of background. I don't think there's anybody here who wants to sell the background. So, going forward, we need to do things deliberate and intentional. Everything you ask yourself, what is in it for me? Even when you are starting the journey to do your research, I know as part of, your growth in the industry, you need to write articles in journals. Some are free, some you have to pay. So if you go through all this rigorous training, without stress, and at the end of the day, you give your seed for free. It's painful. So without wasting my time, I'll just give an outline of today's topic, which is commercializing research outcomes. So why do we commercialize research outcomes? Hello? Yes, research is done to transform scientific discoveries to tangible products or services. Now we know there's something we call cloud computing, cloud storage, right? Now there's something we call software as a service. So if you are using a cloud service, instead of going to hide some silos to store your files, it's in the cloud. But somebody is maintaining that architecture, and you are paying something for it. So engineering as a service. Before I proceed, I just want to ask one last thing. As part of the programs that we run, we have artificial intelligence and social intelligence plus engineering. Is there a program like that? Okay. I mean, we are in the era of AI, and the AI is disrupting a lot of things. So where we are going, if you don't get AI tools, even when it comes to research, I mean, you will lag behind. So it's something that we can take on board. Yes. Because that is going to be the driver. Because if somebody, I mean, a simple research, AI research scientist, his annual salary is almost close to $200,000. So imagine you have AI as part of your competencies, plus your engineering, you'll get top notch. And you can use it to process a lot of information and glean out actionable insights. So I start. What to commercialize? Yes, your research outcomes are not as abstract. Yes, I know when you are doing some, you know abstract before you write. They are not just abstract. They are tangibles. They are products. They are your assets. Hello? Our research outcomes are what? Are assets. Hello, are you with me? They are what? Assets. Even though you have so you have to secure them. So what to commercialize? You commercial products, new devices. I read somewhere that somebody has designed a toilet that when you sit on it, is able to measure your body temperature. There's a fridge, whatever you put in, it gives you feedback. I mean, the quality and all. So, as Prof. rightly said, now disciplines are coming together. Things are becoming multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. So, you don't look at things from one perspective. Yes, built environment, natural environment, soil quality, you know all those things. When you are done with your research, how do you maximize returns on it? Because at the end of the day, what you look out for is returns on your intellect, returns on your investment. Your investment is not only money, time, effort, resources, right? There's something we call opportunity cost, right? You could have done this, but you opted for that. What are you gaining for it? So products, you commercialize your products. Software, physical goods developed from research. Processes, improve methods for manufacturing. Delivery and services, a new service offered to consumers. Technologies, underlining how to choose what to commercialize. It's not everything that you can commercial. It's not everything that has commercial value. So before you embark on your research, you have to ask yourself what you are doing. Are you solving a problem? Hello? If what you are doing is solving a societal problem, then you know that it will create an opportunity. And once you come out with an output, industry or private sector or investors will come and come and have an interest in that product. This morning before coming, I was watching a documentary on TV, and I was told Global Tree. I hope you all know Global Tree. Yes, and I was told that it takes 20 years for it to mature. But a researcher did some research on it, and now it takes 2 years to mature. And other countries, and you can imagine what I mean, the researcher's situation as of now. That is the mindset. If there's no value, don't even start. I know, I mean, we've all been to school before. There are times maybe your supervisor will tell you that, right? Because the supervisor wants to use the information for pardon me, but that's the reality. We've all gone through it before. But if that's in the thing, at the end of the day, if there's no commercial value in the research, then there's no point, because we are not just trained. We shouldn't be trained just to be white collar. I mean, to go to what we call it, the white collar job space. We should be trained to be entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurship is just seeing an opportunity and making the best out of it. And beyond entrepreneurship, there's business development. Yes. It's not just seeing an opportunity and going for it. You have to know the business side of it. So you see somebody is a medical doctor, you go to school 7 years, go and work white collar job. You need to own hospitals, yes. You need to develop new surgical tools. So you can, a doctor you can collaborate with an institution like this. And you know, if this is a, you don't know something you may start up. That's the research line. Maximizing the returns and monetizing everything. So beyond your research outcomes, you ask yourself, you as a person, you are a brand, you are a product, you sell yourself. Because I believe as a lecturer or whoever, wherever you go, you present your credentials, that is your profile, that is what you sell. So in every interaction, we are selling something. So that should be the mindset. So what are some of the commercialized pathways? Licensing, startups. Do we have startups in the built environment? Hello? Do we have startups? I mean, like students have formed startups. From school, once they're here, like some incubator, like you train them, because this is where you gain the skills before you go out. Because we are preparing us for the industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, and it's quite disruptive. So if you don't have the necessary skill set, when you go onto the market, you'll be displaced. Hello? Yes, so you can form startups on campus. You have an idea, okay, I have an idea. This is my research, that's your research. Let's collaborate, right? We've come out with a research outcome, which is a product, right? Let's form a company, it's a startup. And you learn how to pitch. There are so many places and so many grants, so many funds lying there that we don't even know because we haven't thought about it. Whilst we are faculty, so a friend of mine who works at CSIR, his specialization is in environmental science.
and his unit, they got contracted to do some remediation and reclamation. And I was telling him that, look, yes, you work in the institute. I'm not saying be a prostitute, but whatever you are doing, it is your intellect. Right? Yes. We should learn to collaborate. You can even collaborate and be a faculty. Yes, that's how we have to look at things. We have to change our mindset. So I'm done with the what. Now why? Why do we commercialize? Yes, having transformed discoveries into tangible products and services that benefit society and create economic value. That product should be able to generate revenue. Hello? Yes, the product should be able to generate revenue. Me as a banker, me as an entrepreneur, I should be able to walk into the faculty and come and see the principal or the dean. That what products do you have, right? I want us to partner so that we will commercialize the products. But we ought to not be reactive. We have to be proactive. Some of them, we have to write proposals to people. I know individually it's done. Yes, some of you do research and all that, but these are things that we have to do deliberately. So yes, economic benefits and financial benefits. Generate revenue, it increases funding opportunities. Yes, because once the technical university is known as the go-to place, right? People will be pumping money into the school for the school to develop other research outcomes, other products. And by so doing, the school becomes financially sound. Hello, I overheard Prof saying that we have money every day. They say it is so yes, it's very true. But we have to be very deliberate and intentional about things we do. So, increase funding, boost national competitiveness. So, if Mark Zuckerberg wants to invest money, will he invest money in Ghana? What is our competitive advantage? Do we have products who are AI smart? Right? Do we have engineers who have AI competencies? These are some of the conversations we ought to have, right? As a faculty and as a country. Societal and real world impact delivers tangible solutions, yes. In the housing market space, in the material space, right? I mean, when you look around the whole of Africa, almost every country has housing deficits. I did some consultancy with some people in Eastern. Every country has housing deficits. But the houses that are on the market are not affordable. Why? It means we ought to find cheaper materials so that we can build affordable housing. Yes, these are some of the recent areas that we can look. I know of, is it BRI or Posalana Cement? It has not been commercialized. It has not. Why? Is it that it doesn't have commercial value? Why is it that as a country, we invest so much, we have to import clinker? But in Posalana, we have the raw material to save it. These are some of the things that solving societal and real world impact. Benefit the public, better products, services, and solutions. Career and institutional advantages. Enhances reputation. Johns Hopkins University in the US, it gets research funding in the region of $3 billion. Hello? So assuming this faculty is to have 1/10 of that, can you imagine what it will do to us? That is the mindset, right? That is the mindset. It fosters a culture of innovation, right? Now, there's a saying that you either digitize or you die, right? We've all heard the saying that data is the new gold, right? If data is the new gold, the research outcomes is not just gold, right? It's because data is unprocessed information, but research is processed. So if data, the argument is data is the new gold, then research outcomes are the new is gold standard with 99 purity. Hello? Research outcomes are what? Gold with 99 purity because it's been processed. Commercialization of university research outputs, turning research outputs to marketable products to generate yields and value for the university. I mean, these things are things that we have to do it and do it deliberately. Now we come to when to commercialize research outcomes. As I said earlier, problems bring opportunities. Opportunity means there's a market, ready market for your product, right? So when you commercialize your outcome, when there's a ready market for it, that's why I said before you even embark on it, you ask yourself, is your out of validation? Said you must have impact, have a potential partner. I will tell that there's a before you even embark on it, you ask yourself, is your validation? Have impact, have a potential partner. I will tell that there's a it's and the products put soul maps. So another thing we look at, what I said earlier, is intellectual property protection. So protect only through patents before commercializing. So as I said, assuming the faculty has protected its what do you call it formula on the sanitizer, I don't think local will have come to but thankfully, Paul said, never again. Hello, never again. I don't think there's anybody after this session. I don't think there will be anybody here who will go and sell his birthright. Don't be like Esau. Yes, we don't have to be like Esau. Because if we become like Esau, the parable of the sower, you will be asked, what did you use your talent for? This is a talent. That's what it boils down to. So stakeholder needs. Against stakeholders to understand how the research can solve real problems or meet needs. So you look at the market potential, who are the market enablers, what is the value chain? Because it's a product. Your research outcome is a product. That's how we have to look at it from today. It is not just something abstract that you put it on the shelf and it gathers dust. I mean, frankly speaking, we know there are a lot of research that is gathered that some even those who even pen those research, some have even died and gone. They are there. Right? If there was a deliberate national effort, when there was a database on all research and the findings, I don't think some problems will be having it. Because history will repeat itself. Sustainability. Commercialization can help sustain research in after initial grant period. Yes. If your product, that is something we need to be deliberate about. Hello, are we fine? Now, how to commercialize research outcomes? We need to move from the initial idea through development, protection, and market entry by following a structured process. Right? The idea phase is one of the processes. And so many years ago, they passed on. They are evolving revenue because of the copyright. And it's not just having copyright. You need to also have legal rights. So that you don't go and sign any contract. Because it's fair and true. Most entrepreneurs want to reap where they have it sown. So at the end of the day, they want to cheat you out of your IP. So you need to have lawyers who will teach you the nuances of contractual agreements. Validate your idea and plan your strategy. And that you need to conduct market research. So having come up with a product outcome, which will solve a problem, you conduct a market research to see that the product will bring in the goods that have commercial value. Yes, after the market research, obviously you will get feedback, right? And if the feedback is good, you develop a business plan and improve your commercialization. And ask earlier, do we have startups on campus? That is a commercialization method, right? Maybe sample some few bright young people who you think that they have that innovative ideas, right? And you start moving them to the original product. So it could be you license the technology to an existing company that you commercialize, or form a startup, or you offer consultancy services. I know that one most of you don't do. Finally, under the why, you ensure regulatory compliance. We have Ghana Standards Authority, we have Food Safety Authority, in Ghana and abroad. So you standardize them. Now you also prepare for market entry. So you develop a product, you build a prototype, and test to meet real market standards. Because if your outcome, your recent outcome, right, will fetch, you have to test it to find out whether it meets real issues. That's why when it comes to drugs, you perform what we call clinical trials, right? Yes. Finally, you launch and grow. And let's not forget, every product has what we call a product life cycle, right? As you sell the product, there are times a better product might come out that will also your product. So you don't just do a research and leave it there, right? Yes, when it comes to you are engineers, when it comes to capacity, there are things you might have come up with a research outcome that meant a certain capacity. But as time goes on, that thing will be, in accounting, we call it obsolescence, right? It means it has lost its usefulness. In accounting, we also call it impairment. It has lost its economic value. That is where you have to redesign, redevelop, etc., etc. Now we are where to find support for commercialization. Research outcomes are commercialized through a variety of channels, primarily through specialized offices within institutions. We have atomic energy, we have the Noguchi Memorial, right? And the like. Do we have a dedicated office for research outcomes? Hello?
Yes, we do, but just wait to
Very well.
many of us have.
Yes. So this section is just to stimulate our mind, right? Yes. So in other jurisdictions, there's what we call technology transfer office or licensing offices, right? Because as I said, this faculty, most of your products are tangible. You should have a patent, trademark, and if you haven't sent it to the market, right? Can be registered in your name. Your that technology transfer office can be a holding area full of technologies. Yeah. And even within that, it means the faculty too have to build capacities as we are talking about. Another one is startups. Yes. So that is where business development and entrepreneurship comes to play. Another one is specialized research and development centers, i.e. national or regional research centers, CSIR, Noguchi, NDPC, Atomic Energy in Ghana, have established platforms and programs to promote deep tech entrepreneurship and market application. Who commercializes research outcomes? The university. As I said earlier, they ought to be what we call a technology transfer office. Right? Yes, that is the go-to place in certain jurisdictions. The researchers themselves may also form spin-off companies and external commercial partners who contract with research institutions. So, a few commercializing parties. University technology transfer offices. These are primarily the first point of call or point of contact. Yes. I know as a faculty, as Prof said, there's something like that. But most of us don't know. Do we know that about that office? Hello? Are we out of the office? Yes, so it shouldn't be known to only us. It should be known to the world. Right? Yes. That we have such an office which has products. Until I got in touch with some of my friends at CSR, I never knew so many products. So sitting there, tomato varieties sitting there. I'm also an enthusiast in agriculture. I remember I wrote a proposal to CSR. I think the office at I think it was in place. They used to one professor here in Pascal. But because of time constraint, I didn't do that. So I'm at the final part, that is commercial part. So I've mentioned the university transfer, technology transfer office. Another one is researchers and inventors who commercialize their findings through technology companies. So that is where startups need to form startups, right? And not just forming startups, Performing standards and knowing how to pitch. Hello? Yes. So you have a product. The product is supposed to solve a need. But if you don't know how to pitch, how to present your proposal, you write a proposal, how to sit in front of a panel and sell your idea to them and give them numbers. And one of my hobbies is playing with numbers. I extract a lot of information from it. Is that my hobby? My spend time, my phone, a lot. I mean, it's not limited to one area. Architecture, I mean, everywhere. I read why. That is my hobby. Because when you have data, right, that is where you can make informed decisions. So, commercial partners. Businesses approach universities to commission research to solve problems. We have to, as a faculty, we have to develop ourselves to the point whereby we will be the go-to person. I know there's competition within that landscape. You compete with the university. I don't think when it comes to fun, maybe they get more than you do, but no, it's not for now. That one, you get there. Yes. That's why we do what we call national policies and strategic plans, right? And you can also have institutional policies and strategic plans, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I know technical universities, when it comes to engineers, you train better than the universities. I have quite a number of people who attest to that. Yes. So this is a competitive. This is someone, right? Now you are not just but you are also at the university, so you can teach. You can also be among the big boys. So that is what we hope this faculty will become. Government and other organizations. As I said earlier, I know that the budget for this year for the whole education is 30. I don't know how much as a country we devoted for research. Yes, I know the government pays research allowance individuals, right? Allowance is just a drop in the ocean. Yes. We are talking about deliberate policy. But if countries like China, Japan, South Korea, UK, invest a lot in research across different sectors and different goals. That's what we do. We have NDPC, National Development Planning Council. So it's commission, yeah. But it's something that we need to do. Because now every country is becoming nationalistic. Yes, we can just reflect back to COVID times, right? When the what you call it, the COVID vaccine was being rolled out, they looked at themselves first before they did it. So, assuming as a country, we have a lot of researchers who are very good, research outcomes. Assuming as a country, we deliberately look at some of these things and we are not going to help us. So, finally, the process and support involved. IP protection. I'll keep hammering on this IP protection, intellectual property protection. There's a whole law on IP. Are we aware of that? Yes. So it's something that we have to be very mindful of. So we protect our intellectual property through patents, copyrights, trademarks, watermarks, etc. Marketing analysis. Technology transfer officers and research work together to understand market potential and potential buyers. Business and legal support. Yes. Professional services provide legal advice, negotiate contracts. Yes. Because, like I said earlier, most entrepreneurs cheat, right? He's providing the money, but you are providing the brain. There was a funny story that happened somewhere. A ship was at birth, it couldn't move, there was something faulty on it. They had brought all the best engineers in the world, they couldn't solve it. Then they went for hotel, it's a big deal of the game. That's when you throw the engine with a small hammer, this one or two, the ship came to life. But this one, he said, no. Yes. So your intellect, it has to be protected. In fact, if you know something, you sell it for free. People don't regard you. Hello? Yes. If you are teaching somebody for free, sometimes they don't respect what you are doing. But when the person is paying for it, you appreciate it. Yes. So we have to have legal advice and business advice. Partner with people who know what time it is. We have lawyers who are commercial lawyers. It's not just every lawyer. A lawyer who is a corporate lawyer, he knows the ins and outs of such a thing. Financing, funding for commercialization often comes from the private sector. There ought to be collaboration between academia and the private sector. I mean, how many contractors do we have an idea the number of contractors we have in Ghana? Hello? We have an idea the number of contractors we have in Ghana? Yes. And I'm asking myself, how many of us in this sector are contractors? How many of us? Okay. How many of us are consultants to contractors? 24. That is, when I see that, that is my heart. I know maybe because of your demands, you can't be full-time, but yes, that is okay. But if somebody like me, I'm not an engineer, but I have entrepreneurship skills. I know areas that I can put my money. If I can become a contractor and have whatnot, so can I. And if we are to have more of you as contractors, we are too likely to get good out. Yes, because by your training and your orientation, you only be like the businessman who say that, oh, master, you only do so master, you get the yes. So it's something that we need to look at. In conclusion, commercializing research outcomes is a multifaceted process that requires careful consideration of several key factors. So I'll list some of the factors. One, there ought to be a deliberate and intentional national and institutional strategy and policy that aligns entrepreneurship, business development, and research outcomes together as a pivot and a fulcrum to propel development and change. All researchers must have business development, entrepreneurship, and AI acumen. Hello? Yes. All researchers must have business development, entrepreneurship, and AI acumen. 3. Researchers and institutions must be prepared to invest time, resources, and effort in commercialization. Researchers and institutions need support from technology transfer offices, incubators, and accelerators. We have incubators here. Hello, we don't. Okay. I know it comes with money, right? Yes. So there are places that there are fan-sitting plenty places that I believe some of you can harness them. When I'm done, I'll share a website to all of us. Right? It's a site that you'll be sending grants. A lot of funds we send it. So I'll share with all of us. 5. There ought to be collaboration between academia, industry, and government. It is essential for successful commercialization. impact. To my mind, most of the things done at the road ministry, for instance, I know you have a lot of inputs, but it's not just input. If a certain quota of funding is deliberately given to some technical institutes, I think it will go a long way to boost their appetite to do research. Yes. Finally, we know that commercialization can drive innovation, economic growth, social impact. And by understanding the what, as what do we commercialize? The why do we commercialize research outputs? The how do we commercialize research outputs? Where do we commercialize research outputs? And who commercializes research outcomes? We can unlock the full potential of research and drive innovation, economic growth, and social impact. Let's work together to commercialize research outcomes and create a better future. Thank you. So before I leave, I'm available for those of you who need some, advice on business development and the like. Yes, you can pick my details from. Yes, that is where my heartbeat is. And these things come easily. Yes, you have a lot of things, how you want to develop, how you want to go. That is where my expertise is. You can call on me and we'll see the best way you can help to build the best brand. Thank you, and may God be with you.
We can do better. Please let's have it. Thank you, Mr. Daniel Tete. It's good to speak, but it is good for us those who ask you questions. I believe as you were talking, some of our members were busily writing. Yes. So this is a question time. If you have any question for Mr. Tete, this is the time for you to ask. Feel free to ask. It can be 1, 2, or 3. But within 20 minutes. Please, any question for Mr. Tete? Or contribution? Okay, anyone?
Let me ask the first question.
Thank you very much for the very great presentation. I think I just have a little question. When it comes to, you talk about intellectual property, right? It comes at a cost. It is not just a free thing. It also has jurisdictional boundaries. I can do something here, move to another place, it doesn't take place. So how do we ensure that whatever we have to do, right? How then can we make such that we are ensuring that we are maximizing the benefits we're getting? Because now I can do something in capacity in Ghana, step out somewhere, somebody might be able to take it because I didn't register within a wider sort of jurisdiction. How then do we do it such that the intellectual property is still safeguarded and we make the best out of it?
Sorry.
Thank you. I think that's a wonderful question. That is where private sector comes in. You understand? Yes. Not necessarily private sector, but you can also do what we call strategic alliance. Yes. You might have come up with something in Ghana, right? That something complements another product elsewhere, right? You can partner that person. The person can use yours, you can use his. It's a strategic alliance. Now, when you want to penetrate a certain market, countries deliberately have what we call barriers to entry, right? Some are regulatory, some are out of protectionism. So when you have a strategic alliance, it gives you access into its market. The same way